Hi there, I'm Charlie from CookingSecretsForMen.com, and we're having another edition of Cooking with Milwaukee Community Leaders. Very pleased to have as my guest today, Jason Gonzalez. Jason?
Hey.
Morning.
Good morning.
And it is morning, by the way. Jason is the Executive Director at Fourth Dimension Recovery, and we'll talk about Fourth Dimension in just a minute. But I want to start with your formative years, your growing up years. So tell us a little bit about where you were born, where you're raised, and your years leading up to college.
Okay, sure. So, Milwaukee, born and raised Milwaukee. River West, I always start my story in River West because it's a neighborhood that means so much to me, and it's actually where Fourth Dimension is now. So I grew up in River West, and if anybody knows anything about River West history in like the 50s or 60s, around there was a large wave of Puerto Ricans that came to the neighborhood, and that was my family. So they came, stayed, and that's half of me, and then my other half, there was a couple of Mexican families thrown in there. That was my other half. So half Puerto Rican, half Mexican. Okay. And deep roots in that community. I have a good family. Every block in River West is one of us there. Really, we're all over the place. I have.
So a block party is a family reunion?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, we just had one. So great family, great education. I went to Pius for Pius XI for high school, and then I went to the Milwaukee Institute of Art and Design for art, and then after that I went to St. Louis University to study theology. And I like to point out all of that because none of that was enough to stop drugs and alcohol from entering into my life. Right. I'm doing all of this stuff while also continuously drinking and being able to get away with it because from the outside my life seems to be okay. Right? Like people, oh, he's fine, he's in school. Oh, he's fine, he's working. Oh, he's fine. They don't know that I'm dying inside. So nobody asks questions. Right. And I continue living my life and slowly killing myself.
So you did mention you were went to MIAD, which is right down the street here.
Yep.
And then you were at St. Louis University where you got your degree in theology. So what was your plan after graduating college? Where did you see yourself moving to? So
teaching was my dream. And it was a very specific, I wanted to teach high school theology, seniors. I want to teach morality and ethics and social justice. It was a very specific niche that maybe there's one or two jobs out there like that, right? In Milwaukee. So I moved back to St. Louis and I just started applying and I got one. It's amazing. So I started teaching at Mesmer. And then probably 6 years into that, then I transferred to Pius and I taught there for I don't even know how many years, but then I just started rising in the ranks over there.
Okay. So that you went to Pius and then you also taught there. So that must have been a Welcome Back Kotter situation. Yeah. Are you old enough to know about Welcome Back Kotter?
Yeah, it really was because I wasn't the greatest student. I really was just I just messed around a lot. So yeah,
okay,
it was great.
So in 2012, you started Fourth Dimension. And the story was told here, I think by our special guest coming up in just a minute, that you started Fourth Dimension in your basement in your house.
Yeah.
So talk about that journey, because you're the executive director there and the founder, and where Fourth Dimension, how it falls into our community and trying to make our city a better place.
Yeah. So what I mentioned that drugs and alcohol entered into my life, what also entered my life was sobriety. So after years and years of drinking every single day, it wasn't a glamorous life, right? But in the end, I realized that something had to happen. So I got sober. I met a group of people that taught me how to love, serve, practice principles in all my affairs, live in community, commune, get connected to something bigger than me, all of these things.
Yeah.
5 years later, I was still sober. And and I knew that there was something more that I should do with that. So I had $500 in my bank account at the time because I was a teacher, and I took that $500. I bought some beds. I put the beds in my house, and I just invited people to come in and live with me, and they did. And man, let me tell you, that first couple of experience, like people, it was really rough.
Right.
But slowly, a community just started growing up around me in a structure and a program. And now we are where we are.
It's I've heard from a couple people that are on the show. Talked about Vincent Noth from Kinship, and then Father Tim from St. Mary's. It's where I go to church. Have talked about you and the work that's being done at Fourth Dimension. So I know that it's there's an anonymous portion to it for many people. So I don't think we need to get into a lot of detail, but the work that's being done is very important. I did want to, you did bring a friend with you today. This is Orlando. Orlando, come on over. So Orlando, last time he was here with the Kinship Community Center, Food Center, and told his story, which was very raw and very inspiring for many reasons. So he was working a volunteer at Kinship, and also we're in the Fourth Dimension program. And I'm very pleased that you told me this the other day. You have graduated from Fourth Dimension, and you are now working at one of the top restaurants in town as a chef with Dane Baldwin at the Diplomat, and they won the James Beard Award for the best Midwest restaurant, I think maybe last year. So, thanks for coming. Appreciate it. I think Jason's happy that you're here, so you have someone to help cook a little bit. So talk a little bit about Fourth Dimension and leaving the program and then getting to work with Dane Baldwin.
Okay, this is the guy that I was talking about.
Right.
Last year, the moment that I was going to leave the program because they were telling me that I needed some kind of amount of money in order to transition to a sober living housing. And then this is when he shows up and he paints his picture and that I was looking for, and then that's when I stayed back and I told him, hey Jason, this is what I was looking for, this is what I was talking about. Mm-hmm. And then I gave him a call to him, and then a couple of days later I get accepted, and that's when a lot of things changed in my life, and a lot of great opportunity was given to me. And it was a struggle. I'm not going to say it was easy. It was a really big struggle, but they saw something in me that I couldn't see in myself. Not only him, but Jason Ruel, Carl Kimber, was Vince Noth. They started seeing things in me, and they started investing in me, and encouraged me to keep moving forward. Mistakes happen, and I was always feeling down, but they're always pulling me right back up, and men like this is what we need, men like this, leaders like this in the community, because we always hear negative stuff. And little by little, Noth came to him and told him, I'm looking for a person to start this little workforce program. Mm-hmm. And the first person, Jason, said, hey, Orlando. And he called me, and I jumped right in, And the other blessing that I was given was when they came up to me and told me, hey, we want you to become a manager for Fourth Dimension. And I thought I wasn't ready, but they believed in me.
Right.
So I went in there and gave it a shot, and it was a struggle, but we actually made it, and I've been there for almost 14 months, a little longer than I thought it was going to be, but every single time that I was like, oh, I want to leave, I knew I wasn't ready, and after that, I started working for the workforce program in the kitchen, and little by little, they seen the way that I cook and how I am really committed to making meals and smiling and laughing with the people in there, and all of a sudden, I started doing staging. I started staging in Bavette, I staged in Sanford, I staged in Flower Girl Flame. So all of a sudden they needed a chef and Diplomat. And I don't know what Diplomat was, and they told me, yeah, he won a James Beard Award. And I'm like, okay, what's the James Beard Award? And I went
That's
in there.
a good thing.
Yeah, it's a good thing. That's what they were telling me. And it was Caitlin. Caitlin is one of the head chefs in Kinship. and she was a well-known chef that she cooked in the community, and she helped other people too in the struggle. And she told me, "Hey, Diplomat needs a chef. You want to go there?" I'm like, "Sure, it's a job. It's a job." And I went in there. And it was a fine dining restaurant. And Dane is a beautiful person in heart.
Yeah.
You know, he's really, really strong and really straightforward. You know, and at first it was really hard for me because it was like I was going straight from elementary to college,
Right.
and missed middle school and high school.
Right. Yeah, they do have an eclectic menu, so
Yes.
it's very involved. So, well, I am so glad you're here today for many reasons. First, to tell your story again, and I'll put a link in the description box for the interview with Kinship that we had, where Orlando tells his story that I think is worth. If you saw it, watch it again. If you've never seen it, you really should take a look. So Orlando is going to be, now that he's a big-time chef at a big-time restaurant, he's going to help us out today. So, but we'll talk about the food in just a second. So Jason, tell us a little bit about your family.
So I grew up, like I said, in River West, and me, my mom, my dad, brother, sister. River West has what's called Polish flats, a lot of duplexes. That's where we live, very tip standard. I lived upstairs, and my grandma and grandpa lived downstairs. Across the street, I had an aunt. A couple blocks away, I had another aunt, and some cousins. Still, like I said, we're all over. But I remember coming down. One time, somebody asked. Let's start here. So one time, somebody asked, like, what are the smells that remind you of growing up? You know, and there's a big part of me that wants to have like this beautiful story of my culture, but my dad fried hot dogs. Like that's what he did. He fried hot dogs and he put hamburger buns and potato chips in there, right? So it was like, what do you remember waking up?
Did they serve that at the Diplomat?
No. Like what do you remember waking up? I was like, I remember the smell of fried hot dogs. But when I walked downstairs, my grandma every single morning would cook fresh tortillas. So every single morning, it was just like, at least that's a safe bet, right? Stairs, grab probably 3 or 4 of them, and that was a meal for me. I mean, they were homemade tortillas, thick, flour, filling, great on the run.
So I think the plan here is that Jason and I are going to make a batch of tortillas, and then Orlando is going to prepare. We've got some steak tacos with some onions and peppers and a bunch of other stuff. So Orlando's going to be on the cooking side, and then we're going to go over here and make some tortillas, and then we'll fry those, and then I think we're going to have a little steak. Have you had breakfast yet?
I have not had.
All right, we're having steak tacos for breakfast. Is that okay with you, Jason? All right, great. All right,
I'm good with it.
Good. Sorry, give us a minute to set up, and we'll be back making some tortillas and cooking some steak. All right. So here we are. So Jason, Jason put on the apron, which I unfailingly forget to give to the guests. And there's Orlando over there at the stove. He's going to start on our steak for the steak tacos. So Jason, these are the tacos, or the tortillas from your youth. So why don't you take it away?
Yeah. So before I start, I just want to point out, right? When you're talking about homemade anything, it's different. Everybody's recipe is different. And so there's probably some people watching this like, no, that's wrong. What are you doing?
So that was 2 cups of flour.
2 cups of flour.
And then 3/4 of a cup of water.
Yep.
And then we're going to throw in some salt. Yeah. Biggest salt cellar we have. All right, and then 3 tablespoons of olive oil.
Right.
All right, so olive making an appearance. The sound I love to hear, Orlando.
Yeah, I love the sound too.
All righty, so Jason's mixing the dough, and you want to get it. If we need more water or more flour, we do it. Right, Jason's needing that, so then we'll put a little flour down here on the deck when you're ready, and then we'll. All right. You just knead it through the. There you go. Now, do you know how to knead?
No.
All right, Sal, let me show you. I'll do this. I'm supposed to be a sous chef anyway, so let me just put it down. So you go from one end and then you fold it over and you go over. And just keep going on a floured surface here. Do it a few more times. Just go from one end to the other. There you go. And then, all right. You can be a baker soon, Jason. Be home. Go home and, all right. Oh man, Orlando. Gotta go check out Orlando. Wow. All right, Jason. I think we're ready. Why don't you put that back in the bowl, and we have to let that sit for about 10-15 minutes. So we'll be back in just a sec. All right. So now we're going to cut the dough and move it into pieces to be able to make the tortillas. So Jason, let's cut those in half. We'll make these into smaller pieces. There you go. I looked. I don't have a a dough thingy. Where's your thumb?
Now we're good.
Okay. And we'll cut each of those pieces in half. So put those on there and leave one out.
All right.
All right. And here's the fun part. I'm going to roll it out.
Oh, I'm terrible at this part.
Well, we'll see. How bad can you be?
Oh, you'll see.
I mean, it's rolling a pin. All right. Let's see what we got here. You gotta pull it off and then flour it on both sides so it doesn't stick. There you go. And we'll roll it as. There you go. Oh, look at there. And the more oblong the size, those are your tortillas.
Oh man, this looks like Wisconsin. Doesn't even look like a normal shape. Look at that.
That's good enough.
Yeah, it'll work.
All right. Sorry, we'll put that here. All right, so we're going to cut the rest of these, and then we're going to move over and fry them and make our tacos. All right, now we're good. So we got some oil in there, and Jason just put in one of the tortillas we made, and you want to wait until they get a little puffy, and they'll get a little done on one side. There you can see a little puffy right there in the center, and then we're gonna put some peppers and onions. Then we have our steak right here, and we are cooking with Crisco. So, oh, very nice. So we got little marks on them. It's some sort of shape that we're not quite sure what it is, but once you put in all the goodies, it'll be fine. All right, so let's finish the rest of these, and then we're going to sit down and eat them. All right, I'm on camera for just a minute while we look at the food that we prepared. Jason, why don't you give us a little rundown of what we got here?
Well, let's let Orlando do it. He's the cook.
Well, this is your story.
Well, my story.
Let's show your story. Let's show the tortillas.
So here we go.
So these are fresh tortillas that we just made.
Yep.
They look great. We'll see how I'm sure they taste fine.
Taste.
Orlando, tell us a little bit about our food here.
We got obviously lettuce, cilantro, some pico de gallo, shredded cheese, caramelized red peppers and onions, lemons, and steak.
All right, now we're on the shot. All right, so, ooh, nice and warm. All right. I'm excited. That real life show. Ooh,
Yeah, that's
Jason, look at that.
amazing.
All right, Orlando, for you. Oops. And a little sausage, pepper and onions. So, Orlando is actually here. I need some. Put a little steak on. Oh, a little steak. And the tortillas are nice and warm and pliable, so it works. With a little pico, excuse my lift, my reach.
The one thing I love about the tortillas is that you can use it for any food,
Yes.
anything, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I'm telling you, huevo con chorizo, even rice and beans, right?
That's
onions
my
and
lettuce,
cheese.
but it's too. I know it's very healthy. Alrighty, and a touch of cilantro. Just a tad. All right, boys.
Let me get the cheese on here.
Let's squeeze a little lime. Alrighty,
Want some cheese?
let's eat. Yeah, just un po, as we say in Italy.
Un po.
A little.
A little? Is that in French?
I don't know in French. I don't speak French. I speak Italian.
Oh, good.
Un po. Alrighty.
Wow.
Tortillas are perfect.
They are.
Wow. So we have a lot of, as Orlando was saying, these are so versatile. You can put anything in them. We're using some steak that was marinated in salt, pepper, onion, garlic, some sazon. It was just, and some adobo. It was just really well put together. The onions and peppers. It's perfect. I need another bite.
You see me? I'm eating this.
So, I want to thank Jason for coming out today. Thank you so much. This is a great breakfast. Jason's work at Fourth Dimension, which you've been doing now for 12 years, 11, 12 years?
10.
10 years. Math was not my strong suit. The work in the community is, some of it is very anonymous, and some of it is very open and ready to talk about it. So there's an example of the type of work that is being done behind the scenes, and what can happen when you have a person who cares, who has a program that works, and a guy who wants to get better and then wants to be a chef at a fine dining restaurant here in Milwaukee, which I will be going to. I was there a couple months ago, but I'll definitely be going back now. So, again, everybody, I appreciate your support. Please like and subscribe. This is a great thing that we get to do each week, talk to our community leaders, talk about their stories, and then they cook me a great meal, I get to eat it, and they get an apron. So that's how things work around here. I get to eat, they get an apron. So, again, please like and subscribe, and as always, thanks for watching.